Ian Fader, the Gastro Nerd, and I am up to my ears in zucchini right now. It is that time of the year when zucchini are no longer literal, they're no longer ini. Just zucca means squash in Italian. Ini, added to any word in Italian, makes it small. One, on the other hand, makes it big. So take the word nose, naso, nasini, cute little nose, nasone, now that's a big schnoz. So these zucchini, which were supposed to be cute little zucchini, have become zuccone, which I don't know if that's, I've never heard that in Italian, so maybe I made that up. The point is, I have so much zucchini, but what's one of my favorite things to do with zucchini when it gets really big? It's not so sweet, it's quite watery, and the skin gets pretty hard. So, what do you do with something when you don't know what to do with it? You shred it up and you put it into something else. Yes, my favorite thing to make with zucchini, zucchini bread, or muffins, or cake, or whatever you want to call it to make yourself feel better. I'm going to make zucchini bread with chocolate chips. It's one of the best things to do when summer gives you squash. Make muffins. To make zucchini muffins, guess what you're going to need? Zucchini. And what have I done to the zucchini? I have shredded it. I've used one of these box shredders, box graters rather. You generally want to go on the smaller side, and then you're just going to grate your zucchini. It's a tedious process, I will admit, but then you get little shreds of zucchini. But the key here is to really, there is so much water in zucchini, especially when they're big like that, it's almost all water. The best thing to do is to follow this little setup like here. I have my zucchini nice and shredded, and I have it in a colander, and what I did is I put just a pinch of salt and sugar. Mind you, this is going to be a sweet recipe. If you're going to use this for a savory use, you can just put salt. And what that salt and sugar is going to do, it's going to help, really, it's going to say, hey water, come over here. And then the water is going to go to the bottom and it's all going to come out. But then of course there's one more step, and the water will come out on its own, but something else helps, your hand. Squeeze it out. So first things first, now that my zucchini is taken out of the way, I usually like to do that about a half hour beforehand so the water can really start to seep out. Now for my dry ingredients, 3 cups of all-purpose flour. Notice I'm using one of these guys, it's a real cup. This is the best way to measure out dry ingredients. This measuring cup is wonderful for liquid ingredients. So into my dry ingredients, and remember we always mix the dry ingredients first because that's to make sure that everything is blended evenly throughout. So I'm gonna get a teaspoon of salt. Always great, really helps bring all those flavors together. Half a teaspoon of baking powder. Teaspoon baking soda. 1 to 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, depending on how sweet you are. I like to do just a tiny dash of ginger. Ginger's super strong, so I use just a little bit. A little same amount with cloves. And then my favorite, nutmeg. And I said fresh, so this is the whole nutmeg, a little grater, great thing to have. My dry ingredients are all in, so final step, whiskey. Now for my wet ingredients. I have a cup of canola or vegetable oil. I'm going to add my 2 cups of light brown sugar right into here. I'm gonna whisk that up. 2 eggs. Whoa. Then another beautiful addition to any baking is vanilla. So 1 tablespoon of vanilla, a lot of vanilla, and in goes my zucchini. I'm going to swap out the whisk for a wooden spoon to mix that all in. Time to add my flour. Meanwhile, I have preheated my oven to 350 degrees, middle rack if possible. For the final step, the addition of the chocolate chips. How many, you ask? The answer is always more. So about a cup and a half to 2 cups. The batter is done. Naturally, I can put this batter into muffin tins. I'm going to put them in loaf pans. Now here's a fun trick. You might have heard of greasing a pan, buttering it, flouring it. Well, really, you can totally do that and that's great, but if you're lazy like me, just use cooking spray. Canola, cooking spray, and just spray generously. Now I just pour in here. all good to go, into the oven at 350. And we're gonna turn these midway through. Remember, most ovens are not even, so you wanna make sure whatever you're baking bakes evenly. So just adjust them, and they should be good to go at about somewhere between 40 and 50, maybe 55 minutes. My zucchini bread is out of the oven, one of two. This is my smaller guy. All right, let's dig in and see. Oh, it's so pretty because there's layers. It's so moist because of the zucchini, the vegetable oil helps too, and the chocolate chips. Oh, and there's like the perfect little spice coming out of it from all the different warm spices we added. So zucchini bread, incredible snack, great way to use up summer squash, and also relatively healthy. Thanks for watching The Gastro Nerd. I'm Julianne Fader. Subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking this little button over here, and stay tuned for more delicious nerdiness to come.